It's a calm evening and everything seems peaceful until it isn't. You suddenly feel a sharp pain in your abdomen while sitting on the couch, and before you can even process it, another wave of pain hits. You clutch your stomach and let out a small gasp. Jungkook, you call panic evident in your voice. Who is in the kitchen getting a snack rushes over immediately. What's wrong? His eyes widen when he sees the look on your face and his voice goes up an octave. Is it the baby? Is it the time you not gritting your teeth as another contraction hits? Yes, I think it's a time. Jungkook's face turns pale and he stands there frozen for a moment like a deer caught in headlights. Then, with sudden urgency, he starts pacing. Okay, we need to get to the hospital. Where's the hospital bag? Do we have the car ready? Do I call the doctor now or when we are on the way? Before you can answer, your father barges into the room after hearing the combination. What's going on? Why is she shouting? She's in labor. Jungkook blurts out, running his hand through his hair, clearly overwhelmed. We need to get to the hospital now. Your father's eyes widen and he rushes over to you. Oh my god, baby girl, are you okay? Don't worry, daddy is here. Let's get you to the hospital. Another contraction hits and you let out a groan, squeezing your eyes shut in pain. Meanwhile, both Jungkook and your father start talking over each other. We need to leave now, Jungkook says, grabbing his car keys. Wait, shouldn't we check if the car seat is installed properly? Your father interjects, his voice filled with concern. We can't have her sitting in an uncomfortable seat during labor. Jungkook looks at him like he's lost his mind. The car seat? Are you serious right now? She's in labor, not going for a joy ride. Your father crosses his arms, standing his ground. I am just saying comfort is important thing during this critical time. You wouldn't want your wife to be in pain, would you? She's already in pain. Jungkook snaps, clearly frustrated. The baby is coming. We don't have time to debate car seats. As the two of them argue, you're sitting there breathing heavily, trying to remain calm through the pain, but their bickering is starting to grate on your nerves. You just get me to the hospital, you yell, glaring at both of them. I don't care about the car seat or the snacks or whatever. I need to get to the hospital now. Both men jump at your outburst, finally realizing that maybe, just maybe, this isn't the time to argue. Jungkook quickly turns to your father, exasperated. Fine, you stay here and fiddle with the car seat. I'll take her to the hospital. Your father gets offended. How dare you suggest I stay here? This is my daughter. If anyone's driving, it should be me. You too walked up. Jungkook stares at him incredulously. Walked up? I am walked up? Have you looked in the mirror? You are acting like it's your firstborn. Your father puffs out on his chest. I raised her, didn't I? I know how to take care of my daughter. Jungkook throws his hands up in the air, his voice rising. Well, I am her husband and the father of this baby. I think I know a thing or two about what's happening here. Guys, you scream, your face flushed with both pain and frustration. Can you both just stop fighting for 2 minutes? I am in labor, for God's sake. They both freeze, looking at you with wide eyes, finally realizing how ridiculous they are being. You let out an exasperated breath as another contraction hits. Jungkook immediately rushes to your side, his voice softening. I am sorry, babe. We'll get you to the hospital now. Your father is still looking flustered, not quickly. Yes, let's go. No more arguing. Jungkook helps you stand, wrapping an arm around your waist to support you. Just breathe, okay? We are getting you there. Your father hovers around, anxiously fidgeting. Should we call the hospital to tell them we are coming? Or maybe I should drive so you can focus on helping her stay calm. Jungkook shoots him a glare but bites his tongue this time. Fine, you drive, but don't go too slow. We are in hurry. You are barely able to control your irritation at their antics. For the love of that, all that is holy, just get me to the hospital now. Finally, the bots spring into action, guiding you to the car. As you settle onto the back seat, wincing with each contraction, your father starts the car and Jungkook sits beside you. Jungkook, are you? Jungkook snaps, his patience wearing thin. We're not driving, Miss Daisy. We're getting my wife to the hospital. You groan, squeezing Jungkook's head tightly. If you both don't stop fighting, I'm going to walk to the hospital by myself. They both shut up after that, realizing you are serious. The rest of the car ride is filled with your deep breathing and occasional nervous glance. They both shut up after that, realizing you are serious. The rest of the car ride is filled with your deep breathing and occasional nervous glance between your father and Jungkook. By the time you finally arrive at the hospital, you are practically ready to strangle both of them, but you are also too focused on the pain to care. As they help you out of the car, you glare at both of them. If I ever hear either of you to argue again while I am in labor, you hiss through gritted teeth, I will personally make sure you both regret it. Jungkook and your father exchange sheepish looks, but they don't say another word as they rush you inside to the hospital. As Jungkook and your father guide you through the hospital hallway, your contractions are getting stronger and the pain is becoming unbearable. You are clutching Jungkook's arm with one hand while holding your belly with the other, trying to focus on your breathing. Just as you are approaching the labor room, a nurse gestures towards the room you will be going into. But of course, this is when the chaos begins. I should be the one to stay with her in the labor room, your father declares, puffing out his chest and looking at Jungkook. Jungkook immediately scoffs. Excuse me? I am her husband. Of course I am staying with her. He shoots your father a glare, his jaw clenched. Your father waves his hand dismissively. I raised her. I was there for her first steps, her first words, everything. You've only been around for a few years. Jungkook crosses his arms. Yeah, well, I'm about to be there for the birth of our child. I think that trumps first steps. As the argument escalates, you are being wheeled into the labor room by a nurse, but you can still hear their bickering. The nurse glances at you, clearly unsure how to handle the situation. I am not missing the birth of my grandchild. Your father continues, his voice rising. I will be there supporting her through it all. Jungkook throws his hand up in frustration. She doesn't need two people stressing her out. I am her husband. It's my job to be her side. Your patience, which was already hanging by a thread, snaps at his point. The pain, the stress, and the fact that these two men are acting like children while you are literally in labor, it's all too much. From the labor room, you let out a frustrated scream, cutting through their argument. Just shut up, you both. Both Jungkook and your father freeze in his place, their eyes wide as they stare at the labor room door, clearly startled by your outburst. Meanwhile, Dr. Taeyang, who is calmly making his way down the hallway toward you, hears a commotion. He walks up to Jungkook and your father, who are now awkwardly standing outside the room, looking like the two kids who had just called Scully. Dr. Taeyang raises an eyebrow. What's going on here? Why is there so much yelling? Jungkook points at your father. He thinks he's coming into the labor room. Your father crosses his arms defensively. And why shouldn't I? I am her father. Dr. Taeyang sighs deeply, clearly used to dealing with situations like this. He hates his family so much. He rubs his temples and glancing at the two of them. Look, only the husband is allowed in the labor room. Hospital policy, he says this firmly, giving them both a look. Jungkook immediately smirks in victory, puffing out his chest. See, I told ya. Your father looks at Dr. Taeyang, his eyes wide with disbelief. But I'm a father. Surely there's an exception. Dr. Taeyang shakes his head, his tone still professional, but with a hint of amusement. No exceptions, Mr. Jung. She's in labor, and the best thing she needs is a circus in the room. He gestures towards the door. So if you would like to wait outside, that would be great. Your father looks at Jungkook, clearly not happy about the decision. This isn't over, he mutters under his breath, glaring at his son-in-law. Jungkook just grins, feeling triumphant. Yeah, we can talk to me about it after baby is born. Just as Jungkook turns to head into the labor room, you let out another loud groan of the pain from inside, causing both men to flinch. Dr. Taeyang gives Jungkook a knowing look. I suggest you get in there and be supportive, Mr. John. Dr. Taeyang says, gesturing for him to go into the room before he yells again. Jungkook nods quickly and rushes into the room, leaving your father standing in the hallway, still grumbling to himself about how unfair it is. Dr. Taeyang, trying to suppress a smile, turns to your father and pats him on the shoulder. Don't worry, Mr. Jung, you will get to meet your grandchild soon enough. Just give her and Mr. John some space for now. As your father reluctantly sits down in the waiting area, Dr. Taeyang walks back into the labor room where Jungkook is now by your side, holding your hand as you try to breathe through the pain. You give him a glare, still annoyed that the argument even happened. Jungkook winces at the strength of your gift but smiles sheepishly. I am here now, Dr. Thing standing by the door smirks slightly. You two ready? This baby is coming whether you're prepared or not. Jungkook gives you a reassuring nod and you, despite everything, manages a small smile through the pain. At least now, with arguing over, the real moment you've been waiting for is finally here. The months of waiting, the anticipation, and the endless of roller coaster of emotions finally culminate in this moment inside the delivery room. You find yourself face to face with the most intense pain you've ever experienced. You're laying on the bed, legs spread wide, drenched in sweat, your face twisted in agony, every muscle in your body screaming as you grip the sides of the bed, trying to push through the unbearable pain. The young is calmly positioned at the foot of the bed, entirely focused on delivering your baby. His hands move with practiced precision, but that is calmly positioned at the foot of the bed, entirely focused on delivering your baby. His hands move with practiced precision, but the calm demeanor is doing nothing to help you in his tortuous grip. Jungkook stands beside you, guiding your hand through his attempt to comfort you, is doing more than harm. Good. He looks terrified, his eyes darting between you and Taeyang, as if unsure of what he's supposed to do. His grip on your hand tightens, but his words are nothing short of panic. Push, Ryan. Push. Your eyes snap, locking onto him with a fury only someone in labor could muster. If you say push one more time, I swear I'll push you. Your hand clenches, his squeezing hard enough to make him wince. Jungkook, shh. You turn your head, looking up at ceiling, trying to find a moment of peace amidst the chaos. Daddy, please come on, save me from these two monsters. Outside the delivery room, your father is pacing the hospital corridor like a man possessed. His hands are trembling and sweat pads on his forehead as he walks back and forth. His heart pounds in his chest and he's muttering to himself, unable to focus on anything but your scream. Outside the delivery room, your father is pacing the hospital corridor. No, no, my princess, he cries dramatically, pulling up at hair and stopping in his tracks, clutching his chest as if the pain you are going through is his own. He can hear every painful groan and shout, and it's driving him mad. Daddy, your voice echoes again louder this time, and he stumbles, his face pale with fear. No, he wails. Please, I can't come in here, baby. I swear, Jungkook, if you ever get my princess pregnant again, I will sue you. His voice is thick with emotion, and he claps his hands over his ears as if trying to block out the sign of your suffering. Back inside the delivery room, Taeyang remains so composed as ever, his hands working diligently. His calm in the storm seems almost unnatural given the chaos around him. I am seeing the headband, he announces smoothly. Push hard, just one more push. You dig deep, gritting your teeth and bearing down with all the strength you have left. The room is spinning, your vision is blurry, and the pain is almost unbearable. But you push, almost crushing Jungkook's hand in the process. You scream, your body shaking with the effort. But even through your exhaustion, you can't help but hear Jungkook groans of pain beside you. Ryan ease up. I'm in so much pain, he whines, his face twisted as you continue to squeeze his hand with bone crushing strength. Your head snaps towards him, a deadly glare in your eyes. Oh, really? You snap, barely able to catch a breath between contractions. I thought I was in pain here. Taeyong, still focused on the task at hand, nods again. Okay, just one more push. Your frustration boils over. How many times here are you going to say that? You cry out, your body shaking from the effort. Daddy, please, I hate them. Get in here. The young voice remains calm as ever. One more, you're almost there. Jungkook listens close, trying to soothe you through his words are starting to sound desperate. Come on, one last push. Though he gritted teeth, you pant heavily, barely able to speak through the pain. Cookie, are you sure this is the last one? You have been saying this for the past 15 minutes. I am sure, baby. One, two, three, push. Summoning every ounce of your energy left in your body, you let out upon final agonizing push, and then silence. Time seems to stop for a split second. The word pauses, and then the air is filled with the sound of a baby's first cries. Relief floods the room, and the exhaustion suddenly feels worth it. Taeyong looks down at the newborn, a small smile forming on his lips. It's a boy. Jungkook stands there frozen in place, his eyes wide and glassy as he looks at the tiny life in Taeyong's hands. Tears well up in his eyes, but before he can even process the overwhelming emotions of becoming a father, your own voice breaks through a moment. I wanted a girl, you cry, tears streaming down your face. I wanted to make her like me. The young chuckled softly, handing the baby to the nurse with a knowing smile. Well, in that case, I would like to personally congratulate you, Mr. John. Congratulations on having a boy. In his mind, Jungkook lets out a quiet sigh of relief. Thank God. Thank you for saving me from another little wine. I don't think I could handle it. Taeyang, ever the professional, turns to the nurses. Clean the baby and cut Mrs. John's nails before handling her the baby. We don't want her accidentally scratching him. Your eyes widen in horror, snapping out of the emotional haze. What? No, you can't do that. Daddy, they're cutting my nails. From the hallway, your father dramatic ways continue. Not her nails, no, my princess, perfect nails. He collapses on the chair, putting his head in his hands, utterly overwhelmed by the drama of it all. 15 minutes pass and you sit on the hospital bed mourning the loss of your perfectly manicured nails. The reality of your recent labor hits you hard and tears start to spill from your eyes. Your father sitting beside you watches with concern as he wipes his own eyes with a tissue, unable to bear seeing you in any kind of discomfort. My poor princess, he say, his voice shaky. You've been through so much. First the pain and your nails, they were so beautiful. You sniffles, wiping your tears with the back of your hand. Daddy, it's not just the nails, it is the fact that doctor didn't even warn me now. How could he just cut them without asking? They were perfect. You can't help but let the frustration spill over as the tears falls freely. Across the room, Jungkook stands watching the father-daughter duo with a mix of amusement and concern, cradling your newborn son in his arms. He sways him gently while trying to hold back a small at the melodrama. Well, little man, you're enough quiet for the ride, he murmurs, glancing back at you and your father. What do you think? Should we run for it? Leave all this drama behind? The body baby coos softly and Jungkook chuckles quietly. I would say we elope and head for the mountains, just you and me, not this crazy father daughter duo, no named disasters. Daddy, you cry, wiping your eyes. I just wanted everything to be perfect, and now I'm in so much pain, and I have no nails. How could the doctor be so cruel? Fine, Jungkook interjects softly, his tone serious. He walks over and sits beside you, placing your son in your arms. You just brought a baby into the world. What else can be more important? You look down at the tiny face peeking out from the swaddle, and your heart swells, but the frustration still bubbles inside you. But I wanted to look beautiful. Your father nods empathetically, his eyes wide. Exactly. You should be celebrated, not to make feel this way. I'll talk to the doctors. You should have been more careful. You're my little princess. Jungkook chuckles softly, trying to lighten. No, your mom is a warrior, but she's also a drama queen sometimes. You're going to hear all the stories about she screamed when she lost her nails. We'll make a movie about it someday. She's a character. You throw a playful glare through your tears. I'm serious, this is traumatic. Jungkook brushes a strand of hair behind your ear, his gaze softening. I know it feels overwhelming right now, but look at our son. He's perfect. You're perfect. Even without your nails, as you cradle your baby, feeling the weight of new responsibility settle over you, the tears starts to flow again. I wanted everything to be perfect for him, for us. Your father, feeling the weight of your emotion, pulls into a hug, cradling your face. You're still his little girl. You're perfect just as you are, my princess. You have given a beautiful grandchild. You're strong and we'll get through this together. As the three of you sit together, your father holding you, Jungkook gently rocking the baby, you realize that